morning, everybody. My name is Nina Arshavsky. I work at the Early College Research Center at UNC Greensboro, and I'm a moderator for this session today. In this session today, we're going to hear 3 presentations about helping high school students to transition to college from 3 different perspectives. One is from a community college side, another from early college side, and the third one from the early college students' perspective. In the first presentation, Dr. Taryn Azuna-Allen and her colleagues will talk about their study of students' academic and interpersonal validation or invalidation from their early college experience in Texas. In the second presentation, Mary Schmidt-Carter will tell us about Promise K-14 program at Central Carolina Community College and how the college reduces barriers for students' transition to college. Finally, in the third presentation, Natasha H. Snyder will talk about Pender early college strategies to ensure student success in college-level courses. During this session, as you hear, presenters, you can put your questions to chat, and I will monitor these questions. And at the end, hopefully, we'll have a few minutes so that presenters can answer your questions. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Dr. Taryn Azuna-Allen is an associate professor in higher education leadership in the College of Education at Texas Christian University. Her research interests focus on the educational experiences of historically minoritized students, particularly Latino students, as they access, transition, and enroll in higher education. She is particularly interested in the roles of individuals and experiences that facilitate college readiness and support college transitions at 4-year institutions, particularly minority-serving institutions. Her research has been published in the Journals of Higher Education, Journal of Diversity in Higher Education, Journal of Student Affairs Research and Practice, and the Journal of Latinos and Education, among others. Dr. Allen earned her bachelor's degree in General Family and Consumer Sciences and Master's of Education degree from Baylor University in Waco, Texas. She earned her doctorate in Higher Education Administration from the University of Texas in Austin, with a specialization in Mexican American Studies. She is affiliated with the Project Mentoring to Achieve Latino Educational Success at the University of Texas at Austin and the Rutgers Center for Minority Serving Institutions. So, Dr. Allen, please introduce your other co-speakers.
Thanks so much for that introduction, Nina. Welcome, everyone, and good morning. On behalf of our team, I'm excited to present our research paper, A Qualitative Examination of Early College High School Students' Academic and Interpersonal Invalidation in Texas. A little bit about our presenters. Nina did a fine introduction of me, so I'll hand the baton over to Stephanie.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. My name is Stephanie Cuellar. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at Texas Christian University, and I primarily serve the Department of Higher Education. And I'm not sure if Dr. Camargo is with us yet, so I'll go ahead and jump in for her. Elsa Camargo, she's an assistant professor in higher education at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Good morning, everybody. I am Maria Yareli Delgado, and I serve as Senior Director of HSI Initiatives at the University of Texas at Arlington. And I'm also a research associate for the Center of Mexican American Studies here at UTA.
So for our presentation today, here's our agenda. We're going to cover the background of the problem, as well as introduce the purpose of the study. Then we'll review relevant literature and cover the theoretical framework and research questions. After that, we will review the methodology and highlight key findings from our study and discuss the implications for the project, and then welcome your questions.
So a little bit about the background for early college high schools. And then for the purpose of this presentation, sometimes we use early college high schools or early college for, with interchangeable terms. So ECHS were established by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And it is really with a purpose to produce a reform to improve college readiness and degree completion. So some of the blueprint for this ECHS is they often partner with community colleges and K through 12s, and those students, ECHS students, they often get or typically get an associate's degree and a high school diploma, at the same time. So some of the positive outcomes for early college high school students is obviously the matriculation, degree attainment, and the earning of this academic and extensive student support that they receive from the high school and the community college as well. A little bit about the challenges that these students experience is since it's not a traditional high school experience, their lack of meaningful connections with fellow students, they develop stress, anxiety, and then also there is an increase of students' insecurities on their social abilities. These programs are growing in Texas, but also let us know about how these programs influence students' college transition. And therefore, the purpose of this study is to learn about how recent graduates describe and interpret their academic and interpersonal experiences while in high school. And also, how this study sought to understand the invalidation and validation in these two domains, and hopes to explore how do ECHS, with the two research questions, how do ECHS students describe academic invalidation in their educational experiences, and how do ECH graduates describe interpersonal invalidation in their educational experiences.
For our theoretical framework, we are using the validation theory by Rendon. And validation is defined as an enabling, confirming, and supportive process initiated by in and out of class agents that fosters academic and interpersonal development. So when validation is present, students will feel capable, confident, and valuable, whereas when there is invalidation, students feel immobilized, silenced, and inferior. There are two types of validation. There's academic.
I might have lost Elsa. I'll jump in until she joins us. So according to the validation theory, there are two types of validation that students may experience. The first is academic validation, and this comes primarily through relationships with the faculty members that they interact with. And when faculty demonstrate that they care, that they're collaborative, that they're inclusive, and want to foster a supportive classroom environment, academic validation is present. And then the interpersonal validation is about seeing the student as more than a student. Their holistic development is the priority here. And this is when individuals, either in the classroom or outside of the classroom, demonstrate care in getting to know the whole student as far as like what they're going through, in addition to classwork. All right, so for the research design for the project, this is a qualitative case study, and the site that was selected was given the pseudonym Independent Texas University. It is a 4-year regional university in Texas, and it was selected using criterion sampling. That is because it is one, known for partnering with secondary schools as well as community colleges to serve underrepresented students and promote college readiness and college access. Independent Texas University has also demonstrated a commitment to supporting transfer students and facilitating the credit transfer process for early college, high school graduates. The participants for this study, there were 13 participants who agreed to participate. Each one transferred with a minimum of 60 dual credit hours to ITU. They ranged in age from 18 to 20 years old. 11 of them identified as women and 2 identified as men. 5 participants self-identified as white, and then 4 as African American, 3 as Latinx, and 1 as Asian American. And their majors varied quite a bit. We had engineering, nursing, finance, to criminal justice, psychology, and education. The data were collected through semi-structured one-on-one interviews during the 2018-2019 school year. Each of these interviews was digitally recorded and transcribed verbatim. And they lasted approximately 45 minutes each. The data was analyzed through an inductive and deductive analysis. We met as a research team to ensure that we had consensus on the themes as they emerged, and use the research questions and theoretical framework to guide our analysis. And then finally here, we employed 3 strategies to ensure trustworthy data. The research team met and we debriefed consistently, as well as with peers in the field who are experts in the area of dual credit and early college high school to try to limit our bias. We also forwarded the transcripts to the participants to conduct member checking. And finally, we use these different data sources to triangulate our findings.
So for the findings, we've bracketed them between the 2 types of validation. So academic validation and invalidation, and interpersonal validation and invalidation. So I'll begin with the academic validation. One of the ways that students expressed feeling validated through their EC experience was through the application process. So you see Ferris' quote here where she talks about at the time that she was applying for early college, they only let certain people in, grades went into it, and so did the interviews and the essays. So she shared that all of her friends had this similar-minded mentality of let's do well in this program. So it's important to note, however, that now in Texas, grades are not considered through the application process, but at the time they were. Another form of academic invalidation was when students realized that being a part of early college did not accelerate their time to their bachelor's degree. So out of the 13 participants, only 1 of them ended up graduating within 2 additional years for their bachelor's. So they did the early college and they finished their bachelor's in 2 years. The rest of the participants, it did not accelerate their time, and they were at the 4-year for anywhere from 3 to 4 years still after early college. So Addie here shares a direct quote. Yeah, it didn't accelerate college. People ask me if I do early college again, and I always tell them no. Another form of academic invalidation was centered on the communication between students and faculty. Particularly students, the responsibility to communicate fell on the students versus faculty reaching out when students were absent. Joy shares that she never really spoke to her faculty unless she went to office hours, which she said she rarely did. Another student shared that she was sick and was hesitant to reach out to the professor, and it kind of built up over the course of her missing a few weeks, and it was behind on a couple assignments. And when she finally did work up the courage to reach out to the faculty said, oh, you should have just reached out to me. I would have, extended deadlines. But again, the onus was placed on the student to always reach out instead of faculty noticing that a student was missing and kind of just extending that communication line and opening that door for communication. So that served as academic invalidation. And then the last one for academic invalidation was the stress and lack of mental health support throughout the process. So students pretty consistently expressed how stressful this was, lots of responsibilities at a fairly young age. Jamie shared that this direct quote, "It really kills you from the inside out. You get Prada bags under your eyes by the time you're a sophomore or junior. It's just so much work." And their students talked about they would go out in the hall and cry. And I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Camargo now, and she will do that interpersonal.
Okay, I know we're almost out of time, so I'll just briefly provide an overview of the interpersonal validation findings. What we found is that students were able to create bonds with peers as well as faculty while they were in the program. However, once they arrived to college, that became a bit of a bit more complicated because they had to integrate themselves as transfer students into the college environment. We can go ahead and talk more about our findings if you all want during the discussion. I know that we're out of time, so I'll let my other colleagues in this session present.
Okay, thank you for this presentation, and hopefully we'll have more time during the questions. So our second paper is presented by Mary Schmidt-Carter, who holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology and a Master of Education in School Counseling, both from the SUNY University at Buffalo. She spent 4 years working as a high school guidance counselor in Hope Mills, North Carolina, before transitioning to the community college system. She has been employed at Fayetteville Technical Community College, Sand Hills Community College, and currently at Central Carolina Community College in various roles. She began working with dual enrollment students during the Huskins days and has now worked with career and college promise students in almost every professional role since. Mary is a military spouse currently residing in Fort Johnson, Louisiana.
Thank you so much for that. Let me get my presentation started. And my timer as well. All right, so thank you. Again, my name is Mary Schmidt-Carter. I do work for Central Carolina Community College. And I'm really excited about this presentation today because I think it ties in with a lot of what Dr. Stout was talking about in that first session, as far as really having sort of a comprehensive approach to our dual enrollment students, focusing on that upward mobility, removing barriers. These are all things that we're going to touch on during this presentation. So just to give a little bit of background, I know that we have a lot of folks with us from the North Carolina Community College system, but for our folks kind of outside the state, Career and College Promise is the dual enrollment program in North Carolina. So this is for our high school students to take the college classes. Most of them do that during their junior and senior year of high school, although we do have early colleges and some other options, but the bulk of our enrollment is typically 11th and 12th grade. And we are obviously working them towards either a college credential, industry credential, some of those job skills, that type of thing. So this is implemented at all 58 community colleges in North Carolina. Central Carolina Promise, which we also kind of call K-14, that is something that is local to our community college specifically. And this provides an additional 2 years of free in-state tuition and fees at our college. So it is sort of a 13th and 14th grade option. So we add that little K-14 in there because obviously Central Carolina Promise and Career and College Promise are very similar in nomenclature. And it does get a little confusing for our students. So Career and College Promise is our dually enrolled current high school students. And then Central Carolina Promise are for our recent high school graduates. So now you're probably asking, how do these programs intersect? Why are we talking about this today? So students applying for that free program after high school do have to demonstrate, they have to meet several eligibility requirements, but one of them is that they complete a certain amount of college coursework during high school. We will occasionally accept AP, IB, CLEP credit, that type of thing. Again, the bulk of our students are doing the Career and College Promise dual enrollment courses during high school. So once you have done your dual enrollment work during high school, you then can be a qualified student for the Promise K-14 program after you graduate. So what does that transition look like when they're moving from CCP to K-14? We all know high school and college are two different worlds a little bit. And even with their experience as dual enrollment students, there were some challenges that these students were facing. So a lot of them just weren't prepared. They were so excited about graduating high school, as they should be, but they sort of check out, right? Like graduation has come and gone. I've tossed my cap. Now I'm just out, right, for the summer. I want to kind of live it up a little. So we were having a lot of students that were showing up in August and being like, okay, I'm here. Where are my classes? And we would have to say, well, there's sort of a process to this. It's not quite as simple as high school, where someone would create a schedule and just sort of hand it to you and off you went. So a lot of students were surprised that they had to reapply to our college to be admitted as a freshman student. They had to submit those high school transcripts, complete their financial aid. They had to talk to somebody about scheduling classes. So there just were a lot of things that were sort of jarring for them sometimes in that transition. We also at our college had a policy for a little while that the CCP, dual enrollment students, could not register for their fall classes until after their high school graduation. So you're already starting midsummer, and that is a little bit tricky. So impacts that we were having on the college side of that, we really were struggling with a lack of bandwidth and resources. So we were trying to keep up with emails, phone calls, walk-ins, and virtual office hours. I don't know how other folks handled the return to campus from COVID, but we did not stop offering our virtual services, but then we also were facing in-person demand as well. So it was just, a lot going on for everyone on campus. Time was a concern. We often couldn't conduct those meaningful advising conversations at the 11th hour. So if you have 300 students in your waiting room trying to all see 10 admissions officers or whoever that is that they work with to be advised and get registered, it's just not enough time, right, to really, really have those intentional conversations. Classes were also sometimes full by the time we were seeing students late in the summer. And it was just sort of a general lack of communication with students about what they needed to do, when to do it, why, how, that type of thing. So I'm sure that this is all very familiar information for folks. You probably see a lot of this with your graduating dual enrollment students. So how do we fix this? Okay, what's the next step? I have a wonderful supervisor, AVP Byington, and we were having a conversation a couple of years ago at this point saying, gosh, how can we improve this bottleneck, right, over the summer where things kind of don't progress smoothly. So we said, wouldn't it be great if we could catch them earlier in the process and if we could remove these barriers, especially for our dual enrollment students? They are a captive audience. They're already involved with the college. They have a college email account. We want to use this to our advantage. We want to try to register them before that last minute crunch in August. We want to give them time to have those meaningful, intentional advising conversations. And we also want to reduce barriers, things like what if a student has to work or they have transportation issues in August? There's lots of things that prevent them from getting to the college sometimes over the summer. And then Scott had a really good point. He said, gosh, wouldn't it be cool if we could celebrate these students just like student athletes when they had their signing day? We've all seen the pictures of the students sitting at the table signing. They sometimes have that step and repeat behind them, and it's just a big deal. We wanted our students to be excited about coming to our community college. Side note, wouldn't it be great if this also made things a little bit easier on our college staff and faculty? So lots went into this. What was born of that conversation was the red carpet registration event at CCCC. It's been really fun. I'm going to kind of talk to you about how we implemented that, what it looks like, but we were really excited. And so I am a huge fan of alliteration and wanted to kind of, we came up with this red carpet registration concept and wanted to do it fun. So the two main goals, which I've kind of talked about, were helping those graduating seniors, most especially our DE students, that was really who we focused on the first year, navigate that transition from high school to freshman status, and handle that handoff a little bit more smoothly. And then the second main goal was to front load those registration efforts in late spring or early summer to alleviate the stress on the campus staff and faculty and on the students in August. It just is always chaos in August. So some of the secondary goals was to make the students feel special, hence that sort of red carpet fancy aspect. We wanted to get them really excited about attending CCCC and get to have some fun. Obviously, increasing overall enrollment numbers never hurts. And then we really wanted to encourage collaboration between our CCCC offices and departments. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. So real briefly, I'm not going to go through all of this in detail. And my understanding is that all this information will be available after the session if anybody wants to go through this in detail. But when the students enter the event, so we travel to their high schools, we bring all our staff with us, we show up and they come in the door, I check them in, they get this handout. So the left side has all the items that we want to help them with during the event, like reapplying to the college. They're like, I already attend, why do I have to reapply? It's a whole thing. So we say, yes, you'll need to reapply. We want to help you with your North Carolina residency determination. We can help with the FAFSA. These are all the items they want to work on that day. As they come in, I will check off things that are done. We'll circle things that need to be done. and just help them with as many of those items as possible. The right-hand side was a survey that the students would fill out after the event, and the whole thing was actually perforated so they could tear it in half, leave the survey with us, take the checklist with them. And if they were not done, if they didn't get through all those items that day, we created a red carpet registration event, a website for the event that had all of those same checklist items so that they could sort of close the loop if they didn't get everything done that day. So each event, each item had a, what do I do? Where do I do it? Why do I do it? And then who can help me, so that they were given those tools after the event. The implementation, our first year was kind of rushed. AVP Byington and I were having that, gosh, wouldn't this be great, a conversation in early March. We had to work with the schools to get their buy-in. That again ties back to those partnerships that Dr. Stout was talking about. We are pushing into the high schools to do this event. So we need the guidance counselors, the principals, the staff, we need them to be on board. So our marketing materials were developed a little bit later in March and April. We sent the invitations out via email and actual hard copy letters in early April. And the event took place from May 2nd to the 13th. So at that time, we had 9 public local high schools and 1 charter school. We did 10 schools, 10 days, 450 miles roughly that I put on the campus van. But it was actually a lot of fun. So it came together really, really quickly, but it went off well. We had a great turnout, and we really could not have done this without our other folks on campus. So I'm not going to go through this whole list, but there's almost no aspect of our college campus that was not impacted in some way by this event. So we had a lot of folks that attended the event, financial aid, admissions, that type of thing. A lot of support from like our marketing team to put out the word and advertise the event. At any given point, there's about 40 people that physically show up and support this event, and even more than that, obviously behind the scenes. So a couple event photos. You can just see some of the handouts that we were giving students. We brought our life-size Charlie Cougar, who is our campus mascot, and set up a photo booth opportunity for the students. You will also see our actual red carpet. We had to borrow that the very first year. And then the second year, we were blessed to have buy-in from our campus administration and actually purchased our own red carpet. It was a really big deal. But you can see all of our staff and faculty working sort of one-on-one with these students. Our staff was also really wonderful and had a good time and wanted to dress up as well. So we had a couple photos there. Numbers wise, brief overview, we did have 10 events that first year. Like I mentioned, we had 218 students that attended, 113 of those were registered. And then last year we did those same 10 high schools, but also added 3 evening events. And so again, about 300 students attended, about 150 registered. So about half either way. So 149 may not sound like an enormous number, but if it's 149 students that you're registering in May instead of August, that's kind of a big deal. Very quickly, the students who participated really seemed to have a good time. They got a lot of first hands-on experience with college advising, having those genuine dialogues. We wanted them to really sort of take ownership of their next steps in their education, solidified their plans to attend the college in the fall, and it was just kind of fun and created a little bit of buzz as well. Internal feedback, some things that we changed that we took from our first year to our second year of the event was including that nighttime event in each county, like I mentioned, for our non-public school students. So private school, homeschool, anybody else that couldn't get to their assigned public school event, they could come in the evening. We did move the event up a little bit earlier in the spring. We also got creative and had the students use a red carpet registration hashtag, because obviously photography in the high schools can be sort of tricky. So we encouraged the students to take their own photos and then post them, so that sort of took the onus off of us. We also incorporated more opportunities for non-CCP students. So our goal was always to focus on dual enrollment students, but if a graduating senior walked in the door and had never had any contact with CCCC, we did not want to turn them away. We would work with them as best we could. So things we will keep that have been a big hit: candy, swag, and handouts are always great. We are supplying free t-shirts this year. We just found that out the other day. And the check sheet was really helpful for students and staff as they navigated the process. So overall, this red carpet registration initiative, we have implemented with other populations across our 3 service area counties. So it's not just our high school students. we've kind of, this red carpet, fancy welcome, we want to make a big deal about you, we have used in other ways for the college. So I think I'm just a couple seconds over time. I apologize, but this is my name and contact information. I did see a couple of questions in the chat box, but I want to give the other presenters a chance to go. And if we have time at the end, I will circle back to those if that works.
Thank you, Mary. You were just on time. And yes, we do have a couple of questions, and great job. You can actually address them in chat, and or if we have time at the end, we'll do that as well. So our third presentation is going to be delivered by Natasha H. Snyder, who joined the Cape Fear Community College in 2010 after spending 9 years working as a social worker and case manager. She serves as a college liaison for Pender Early College High School and teaches sociology. She earned her master's degree in gerontology and lifespan transitions from Appalachian State University. Natasha approaches her work in education with a focus on compassion and equity. She tries to foster a positive and nurturing learning environment that allows her students to flourish academically and personally.
Thank you, Nina. Good morning, and thank you all for joining me for today's session titled Nurturing Academic Success, Strategies for Dual Enrolled Students at Pender Early College High School. I'm the college liaison at Pender Early College, and I work with Cape Fear Community College, and I'm excited to share my experiences. Pender Early College is located at Cape Fear Community College's Burgaw Center in Burgaw, North Carolina, and this cooperative innovative high school was established in 2006. We currently have 193 students, and we welcome rising ninth graders as well as transfer students from our high schools. And we use a selective admission process. So we use various criteria, including test scores, grades, and our teacher recommendations to determine students that will be offered acceptance. Our institution caters to diverse students and their needs, and so we do have various programs available through college transfer, career and technical, and WCE pathways. 45% of our students are first-generation college students. That is one of the legislative goals in North Carolina, but we also serve students who are at risk of dropping out and students who require accelerated instruction. We prioritize individualized support and flexible learning options, and we do have a fifth-year option, so students can remain a 13th year to finish their degree program. Like most cooperative innovative high schools, we have a small but mighty staff, and with our school, we have created some school-wide goals that include increasing our proficiency in our college courses, increasing growth in our end-of-course testing, improving our ACT scores, and increasing the number of students who complete a college certificate, diploma, or degree. And today I'll be highlighting some of the strategies that we've employed to support our students' academic growth. You'll see some of the existing strategies here. When I began at Pender Early College High School, that was in October of 2019, and that was just before the onset of the pandemic. Like many educational institutions, we swiftly transitioned to virtual learning in March of 2020, followed by a hybrid cohort system when we returned in the fall. However, the online format led to significant learning loss in our current students and learning loss that we've seen in students that have come since those years. Many of our students have internet accessibility issues. Areas in our county do not have internet access, and our students juggle multiple responsibilities. Addressing the academic needs of our dual enrolled students presents unique challenges. PEC students must earn 150 volunteer hours and complete an internship to meet our high school graduation goals. Many of our students are from low socioeconomic backgrounds and must work to help support their families. So learning time management skills to successfully balance their work, their school, and their volunteer responsibilities remains a priority for our students. We're also striving to increase growth on our end-of-course high school tests and our ACT scores. So we have many accelerated and high-performing students. So our proficiency is usually wonderful, but it is difficult to grow these students. So it requires innovative practices. PEX has always had a robust offering of academic supports. Every student has a new student seminar that they take the first semester that they come to our school, whether that is in 9th grade or if they're a transfer high school student. It is an elective high school course. It helps to orient students to the college experience, but it also embeds ACA 122, which is Cape Fear Community College's College Transfer Success course. And so that is a required course for our students to complete and pass before they can take any additional college courses. PEX also has Wolf Lunch. Our mascot is the Sea Wolf. And so Wolf Lunch is a 45-minute extended lunch period. And during this time, students can meet with their high school teachers. They can receive tutoring services. We also have our clubs during this time. Every student has the same lunch period. And because our students come to us from all across the county, it allows students who might have transportation barriers to participate in our school activities. We always try to schedule school events during the day so our students can participate. Wolf Den is a monthly meeting that involves all of the high school support staff and teachers. We discuss students who are struggling academically. It's a collaborative effort. It helps us to assess our student needs, identify any deficits, see what we're seeing in multiple classes, and that insight can help us to develop strategies to better serve our students, and we can initiate consistent interventions. On the Berghaus Center, we do not have a learning lab or a library. So our high school teachers had been serving as additional tutor and support for some of our college math and English classes. And then we also engage peer tutoring. So we have students who have been successful in classes who work as peer tutors while they're able to earn their volunteer hours through that. While these existing strategies bolstered our student success, we realized we needed some new support measures to meet the growing and changing needs of our students. So Cape Fear Community College added Avizo, which has later been renamed Watermark, and it's a software program that allows college staff to view student grades, make referrals and alerts, and communicate with other staff members and with students. So 3 times each semester at weeks 4, 8, and 12 for a 16-week semester, we receive a spreadsheet that identifies students who are failing in their college courses. So I use this to create a shared spreadsheet that I then share with our high school teachers. Every student receives an email from me when they are on a grade alert, and it provides them information on our tutoring services, our academic resources, and also steps they need to follow. Each student who has a grade alert gets the opportunity to meet with me and the principal, where we discuss strategies and what's going on in the class. Parent communication is very important, and as a college employee, I cannot communicate with parents. So every student has a high school advisory teacher, and that advisory teacher is the one that communicates with parents and guardians regarding their students' low grade. So all of this kind of multifaceted approach has been instrumental in early awareness of low grades, connecting students with academic resources. I put over communication because I feel like that is a key to communicate to all invested people in this. And I just feel very strongly that Watermark has just been instrumental in this. I use Watermark every single day. One other application for Watermark, you can see when assignments are completed. So for any student in an online class, I can view to make sure that they have completed their enrollment verification quiz prior to the census date. This has resulted in none of my students being dropped as a no-show for not completing that. In addition to Watermark, I created academic contracts for any student who has a college grade point average below a 2.0. We have students who are interested in a 5th year, and that is not available to every student. So they have to maintain a 2.0 grade point average to be eligible for the 5th year. And then we also want students to be eligible for financial aid. So for any student who goes below a 2.0, their parent and the student have to sign a contract. They have to meet with me to go over academic success strategies. And also, if any college grade drops below a 75, they have to attend the Learning Lab and tutoring services. Some other changes that we made, I coordinated with some of our instructors who are teaching at the Burgall Center, and they were able to align their office hours to offer tutoring services in math, English, and Spanish that overlap with our Wolf Lunch. So this brings to our students the opportunity for tutoring and Learning Lab assistance without having to leave our campus. We also saw a change in some new high school course offerings. I helped to plan and arrange vertical alignment. So our high school teachers meet with our college instructors so they can compare curriculum to determine what can best serve students. And one of the changes that emerged from this vertical alignment is this semester, instead of English 4, we are teaching pre-calculus. And that pre-algebra calculus is going to better align with math 171 and 172. We also have moved away from offering physical science and only offering chemistry, earth and environmental, and biology. This is giving students a foundation course to help better align with the natural sciences on the college side. And we've added 2 additional electives this semester for physics and anatomy and physiology. A lot of our students had struggled in these college level courses. And so the hope is by taking them as a foundation course, as a high school course, that we will see better success in those. And then also providing, additional exposure to natural sciences before the students begin in their college level courses. ACT, the performance score for ACT has been moved from a 17 to a 19. And so, we realized that we needed to bolster our ACT preparation. PEX had already implemented a 1-day intensive ACT boot camp that happens a couple of weeks before the ACT exam, but we added in the fall semester an ACT prep class that all of our 11th graders take. It meets 5 days a week. There are some flexibilities allowed with the course in case students are not on this campus every day. But we're hoping to see, the ACT was yesterday, so we're hoping that this prep class has aided in improving those ACT scores. And we also purchased the pre-ACT 8-9 test so that our 9th graders can go ahead and take the test. We're hoping that this additional data will give us the opportunity for more individualized and targeted support for each of our students. An additional challenge is meeting the mental health needs of our students. We've seen nationally and locally an increased number of students struggling with depression and mental health issues. PEX now has a mental health therapist available 1 day a week on our campus, and we've added mental health and behavioral concerns to our monthly Wolf Den meetings to better help address the students' needs holistically. So some of our quantitative data, through these initiatives, we have seen progress in course proficiency. So when I mention course proficiency, this is students who are earning a grade of an A, B, or C in their college course. I have an asterisk there with 2019 and 2020. In the spring of 2020, no student failed a course. We had extensive interventions to reduce that and opportunities for students to withdraw very late in the semester. So looking at beginning in 2020, we saw over the past 3 academic years an increase of 9.73% in our course proficiency, which we're very proud of. Not only did our course proficiency increase, but we also saw that the percentage of A's in college courses increased from 52% to over 61%. So our percentages of this past fall, 2023, was 67.64%. So we're seeing students being more successful in their college courses, as well as earning higher grades. I'm very proud to report that our dual enrolled students boast the highest course proficiency in our county. And our fall, proficiency continues to show this increase semester upon semester. And with program completion, although we've seen ups and downs in our completion rate, it is trending upwards. And based on the intent to graduates that have been completed, we are looking to see an increase quite a bit from last year for course completion for our students. Despite our successes, challenges persist, including faculty engagement with Watermark and student responsiveness to communication. Watermark is only effective if the gradebook is set up correctly by instructors and if those grades are regularly updated. One opportunity for improvement is to further educate faculty and increase the buy-in from these instructors of how, to utilize Watermark and the importance that it offers. Connecting with students will always be an issue. I feel like I send emails and I wonder how many are left unopened, but by communicating with students and parents in multiple ways, we are hoping to, improve that connection. Access issues also remain. Many students do not have access to the internet. Students are not always able to access the Learning Lab services, and recently our college has experienced a reduction in the variety of disciplines that do have tutors available. However, collaborative efforts and ongoing collaborative efforts have helped to improve our student support, and we're seeing these achievements. So our course proficiency is increasing each semester. We've had growth in most of our EOC tests. We're building stronger connections with our students through ongoing communication efforts, and we now have additional academic support services on our campus. The continuous collaboration and positive relationships between college and high school staff are instrumental to our school's success. I feel very integrated into the high school, even though I'm a college employee, and I've developed very strong relationships with the staff. The principal includes me in school committees and meetings. We have daily communication, and all of this is essential in the progress that we are making. I work very closely with the high school counselor to align our advising schedules and share information to better serve our students. And it's these supportive relationships and collaboration that help me to effectively do my job. As we reflect on the journey, the importance of early awareness, communication, and collaboration between high school and college partners emerges as core themes underpinning our success. I extend my gratitude to everyone who's here today for their dedication to dual enrolled students and their holistic development. Achieving student success depends on a significant investment of both time and effort. And I hope that this presentation has offered some valuable insights into our practices, which may prove beneficial within your institutions. Together, let us continue sowing the seeds of academic excellence and nurturing the growth of every student. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha, and thank you to all of our presenters for wonderful presentations. I think both Mary and Taryn answered some of the questions in the chat. Is there any questions for Natasha? We have just 1 minute left, and we have comments. The great job to everybody. You can just unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, well, these presentations are recorded, and I think the chats are also going to be available, so you can find some answers there. A lot of thank yous from people who attended. Thank you to all who attended the session. And we are at our time, but you can connect in the chat for the entire conference with the presenters and ask them more questions if you have them. Thank you again for attending. Bye, everybody.